with everything going on in the world, it's a fucking revolution going on outdoors. And Insecure episode 7 of season 4, Lowkey Happy, was the medicine that black people needed. I didn't even know that I needed this shit. Shout out to Issa. Shout out to Natasha for directing this. This spoke to my heart, okay? Speak to my heart, Holy Spirit. All right. First off, we had said last week that Lawrence was on the phone with Issa, and guess what? Prophecy fulfilled. All right, and this ain't even revelations, but they meet up at a bar. It's loud as shit. And how often do we sort of think that a place that we like or we've thought of, and then it ends up being crowded and ratchet and shit? And Issa rolled in there. She looked great. She had on like from last week, I thought she had on a red dress and some high heels, and instead, it was like this really great red top and some jeans. And it was just a great outfit. And she walked in and she, face planted, dead to the floor. And she stayed there. I would have stayed there shit too. I would have stayed there, started having fake fucking seizures. And then I would have gotten me a little chump change 2-3 years down the line. Got off of social media, all of that shit. Got me a little bit of money. But anyway, it showcases where like, Issa's so awkward, right, and clumsy, and all that kind of buffoonery, and it's another element that I really like about the show, where the faults of the characters come through and resonate in such a realistic way. But anyway, they are there. Lawrence was kind of nervous before meeting him. That was cute to see, and he ordered Issa a drink, and she was like, I don't drink that shit no more. And has that not always happened to people? Like, you meet up with someone you used to go out with, you meet up with an ex, and then they try to think that they know you. No, bitch. I don't drink house wine no more. So they're having this, can we just speak about the level of the opposing component and opposite aspects of Issa and Lawrence's relationship as it pertains to Molly and Andrew? And granted, this is a relationship that's 5 years, and Molly and Andrew, like, they just got together last Tuesday. But in the essence and the ebbs and flows, we show the opposing components of how a long-term relationship looks, and how I don't want y'all to think I don't have nothing underneath this jacket. How a long-term relationship looks and how something new looks, right? The awkwardness that Molly and Andrew have in comparison to the sort of fluidity and the banter and the understanding and the comprehension of one another that Lawrence and Issa has. Even with the breakups, even with other sexual partners, it's still, they can come to base and they get one another and they know one another. And as a self-proclaimed romantic, but only on Tuesdays, this episode really was beautiful because it showcased all of the complexities of what romance is, right? And really what romance is on the cerebral component. I've been using cerebral a lot this weekend, but it showcases what the beauty and, what is it? I forgot the exact terminology when someone turns you on mentally. And I think, and I'm not saying I think, it was proven that that was the case with this episode. So they start speaking, and then it gets really loud and rowdy. And what I like is that, Issa and Lawrence took care of the situation when people started acting stupid, and then Lizzo came on. And tricky thing, and this is a funny thing, and it's a funny little sort of Easter egg that they placed in it, where that Lizzo lyric comes out, where why are men great till they have to be great? And this truly showcases about Issa and Lawrence, right? A couple of episodes ago, Issa spoke that, she felt as though condominium was benefiting from Lawrence being a better man, quote unquote, what Issa had thought. So anyway, they're having all this great banter, and then they leave the place and they head over to another restaurant. And again, like, it shows you these small aspects of, like, they still remember the things about one another, right? Where Lawrence was like, you remember that place we used to speak about? We've been broken up. You still remember that? You haven't gone there. So, it shows you these small aspects where both of them weigh so heavily on each other's lives. Issa done been there with the next dude, with TSA, babe, with whoever, whatever. She ain't gonna let shit stop her from going to a place to eat. And they sit down in the restaurant. And right before that, Lawrence, they start speaking to one another, and Lawrence catches on that Issa had ate at the restaurant. And another thing I want to say is that, like, in all their corniness, they get one another. And I think that that's not explained even now at this age that people don't quite get with the beauty of romantic relationships is, does this person get me? That I could drop a song lyric and then that person be like, start laughing even more because of how relative and how it relates to the smallest component, right? I think that's a lot with, I feel like, Black humor, which then resonates into Black relationships, whereas that candor and relativity, you can relate these things to pop culture, you can relate these things to colloquialisms, and they come out, and I think that that's where I was watching a whole episode like this, and just loving that, I felt like it really sort of resonated in me, because these are the things you want to see. It's not those things where like you see people like, oh, does this person pay my bills? Does this person, my damn microwave is going off. Does this person pay my bills? Does this person do this for me? It's more of this ebbs and flows and beauty of the mental space, right? And it's not I'm weighing and offsetting you on this mental baggage. It's light jokes. Did you get that? Did you get this? It's a lot of it is exercise. A lot of mental exercises and good mental exercises that we saw. So anyway, they end up going to a restaurant, and Issa was like, listen, what you call me out here to talk about, right? We kind of all know what it could have been. And also, was it just not me where I felt as though every scene, it was going to be a dream? It was all a dream, and I'm so happy that this wasn't a dream, this episode. But anyway, and Lawrence says, I've been thinking about what would have happened had we stuck together. And I have never seen such transparent language on the screen before, and especially as it resonates to a Black relationship, where Lawrence was very transparent and open and mature and growth, and Issa as too, and they both sort of fessed up to why the relationship broke down. And when Issa said, I used to drive around and not want to come home, that shit, it hits you on a different level, because when you don't want to come to a place that you're sharing with somebody, the relationship is pretty much over, right? Because you're living with people, you're sharing space, but it's no longer that anymore. And then, when she said, you didn't want to go out, you didn't want to speak to me, you didn't want to have sex, it was dead. And not to say what she did was okay, but it shows you the different components and as to why people end up in the arms of someone else, whether it be long term or short term. It completely explained that if you are smart enough to identify intimacy on the different levels, physical intimacy, mental intimacy, and how they sometimes all blend in together. The framing on these shots, the director of photography and the cinematography on this, again, every week you give a BFA bitch everything she's been asking for. You give me everything. You give me like these sort of like Hitchcock related framing components. You give me a little bit of long frame shots. You give me some Hype Williams on some days. Just really a little bit of Stanley Kubrick. Yeah. Insecure visual team killing it once again. And so when Lawrence and Issa have that ability to be open about things, and then you see where Issa's soul dips a little bit and then Lawrence's soul dip, and they come back together, and then they realize some things, and you realize that. But then guess what happens? Condominium hits him up on the phone, and they had said that they had planned to speak. Now, I've been looking on the internet, and people are like, oh, maybe she's pregnant. I don't think so. I think that, because they broke up on these sort of terms of not quite horrible terms, it's, I always say, let me break up and shit really hit the fan, rather than we just didn't get along, because there's always the but if, which creates these scenarios where she's reaching out to him and he wants to talk to her, and he allotted a certain level of transparency. Dinner is over, they are in an Uber. Oh wait, can we just talk about the talkative ass Lyft driver? Once you leave New York, there are a lot of Black women who are Lyft drivers, and Lord, do they talk. They talk in a sense of, I think it's definitely Black camaraderie, because once you're outside of New York, the percentage of Black people definitely decreases. And shit, with the way shit is going on with the NYPD and de Blasio, the numbers is decreasing ever so quickly today. But anyway, they speak so much, but it's so much depth. And so I understand when Issa was like, I want a quiet car, but sometimes it's a connection where another black person sees you and you're in an intimate space and they want to bond, especially if they're older. So I got it. But again, in that car, it was such a prophetic amount of language that was there, and so much that had picked up on those small elements of them. Then they go to dinner. Again, the framing of the shots, excellent. Post dinner, they bump into TSA Bay. The perfect storm, right? And you gotta love TSA Bay because he has no self-awareness, but he's not a horrible dude, right? He got his old piece, his new piece, and everybody is all kumbaya. You know, he didn't roll up and size Lawrence up on something really mean. And then Maserati, whatever homegirl's name was, she was just like, okay, I'm over it. And then Lawrence thought it was funny because look, she done came here with me, she done came here with TSA Bay. Ha! Funny. Also, can we just get back to when Lawrence mentions how when he wasn't working, the level of depression he went in? So many men speak of when they are unable to provide for themselves, the level of depression they go into. It is so saddening because men define themselves as what they can do financially. But, you know, not with these new niggas, because these new niggas be sitting up there fighting their grandmother, stealing out their grandmother closet and shit, stealing their grandmother church change. But hey, it went pretty well. And I like when Lawrence said to Issa, a year ago, I couldn't imagine having this conversation with you. So anyway, they are back. They go to an art walk, do some bougie shit. I loved it. I loved every moment. I put it on notes. And when outside open up back again, I think I want to go to LA and go to the art walk, but I'm probably going to go by myself. But you know, again, that banter, and it was so beautiful and so romantic, and watching them walk and him walk in front of her and her walk in front, and then her mention what she defined as happiness and what she wants to do next. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. They, you know, participating in buying artwork, getting that kind of push to go there from TSA Bay. We be bullshitting on TSA Bay because what he does for a living. Low-key, TSA Bay is a medium hood nigga. He can go to shit, diversify, know how to do things. It may not be fully what he wants to do, and he kind of has a messy background or whatever. My braid is sticking up. But you have to enjoy him for those things. So they end up taking another lift back to going home, right? And Issa set this shit up, you know, when you're in a hoe come out in you and you like, let me say some slick shit to get him to trick him into getting me into the house. And that's what she did. She was like, oh, it look kind of cute. And he was like, okay, bet I'm gonna show you kind of cute. And then they came upstairs, and then she's wandering and looking around and shit. And you can hear all the fat Luther going on in her head. So are you gonna be in love with me? I want you, I need you to be, yeah, still in love, so in love. That's all I played after this episode because it was so fucking romantic. And then Issa says to him, can I use your bathroom? Listen, when a woman asks to use your bathroom, really what she means, can I go take me a little whole bath, clean up the box? So that's what she did. And then he walks outside his own apartment to tell Condola again, I can't make the call, which is perfectly fine. And listen, they've been meeting late at night anyway. So I don't really think there's anything big to think about with condominium. I think it's more that she was like, yo, I'm still up. I got to go to bed. I go to bed early. Shit, well, if you're a bitch that go to bed early and it's 9:30 and somebody still ain't come through, what we doing? Do I need to take a shower? Can I go to bed? So then it ends up where Issa and Lawrence come back and speak. Oh, and Issa says, yo, I don't want to go home. See, when you grown, ain't no playing games about whether or not we fucking or not, right? It's like, I don't want to go home. AKA, what we doing right now? We fucking? That's exactly what Issa wanted to say. But HBO doesn't spend that much time on gratuitous language. HBO spent a lot of time on gratuitous nudity, which I did not need to see, but I understand why they needed to do it. And their bodies flow so fluid and well together, and it's lovemaking. It ain't fucking, right? And that's another thing where we have to appreciate. It's also that weird awkwardness they had in the morning. But Issa had an amazing walk home. Her walk of shame was not shame. And from what I fucking know, LA is not walkable. When did LA become walkable? She was like, oh, I live right around the corner. Right around the corner, LA is 45 minutes away, obviously. But to see this episode and to see this love with all the fucked up shit that's going on right now, it was beautiful to see. And the language that served a purpose. Black people, we needed this, and it came at a beautiful time. Thank you so much for watching. Blackest recap ever. 2 more episodes to go on Insecure.